All right, let's take a look at the proper orientation of your body blade. When you're driving your body blade, let's bring our body blades up. Now you have a wide side and a narrow side. Right now, Christy has oriented the body blade in what we call the narrow side. As you look at the product, you're looking at the narrow side of the body blade. Rotate that in your hand to a wide side. This is what we call a wide side position with the body blade. So go ahead and drive in the wide side. Generally speaking, wide side exercises are a little bit easier to do for beginners and for people in general. What you'll notice is that the forces that are coming into the body are coming directly through the joint when you do wide side exercises. So go ahead and into an overhead press, for example. Still, the forces are coming into the body and away from the body, but driving directly through the joints. So as somebody's just beginning, it requires a little bit less core stabilization to be able to do a wide side exercise. Come on back down to an ab crunch position and go into a narrow side. Narrow side exercises can be more challenging because what they do is they drive the forces perpendicular to the joint. So you're no longer going directly into the joint. When you bring forces perpendicular to the joint, you're also putting more leverage away from the joint. So you can imagine the distance that you go away from the center of the joint is now a greater force of resistance. Requires greater stabilization, oftentimes a little more coordination, but the wonderful thing about this is it's almost like having two products in one because you can completely tailor whether it's a wide side or a narrow side exercise. The other thing that's so wonderful about this, you can bring the body blade to rest, is that because we're not dependent on gravity, if Christy were holding a dumbbell straight out in front of her, she would have a direct force going down to the planet where she would have to contract her muscles. As you drive up and down, she is using that same plane right now to get resistance, but without changing the position of her body. Let's change the position of the body blade to a hip and thigh sculptor. Now she's going to drive left and right. Go ahead. Again, a narrow side exercise. And now the forces are going across the joint in her body. Regardless of the position of gravity, now we are challenging her in a rotational position rather than up and down, all by changing the position of the body blade. Now bring it onto a 45 diagonal, like an ab crunch on an angle. Watch how easily now, again, we're driving using the narrow side on a perpendicular angle to the joint. So the wonderful thing about this is that you can vary the resistance, you can vary where the forces are coming into the body simply by moving in and out of the wide side or the narrow side. And I want to make clear right now that Bodyblade is a tri-plane training tool, meaning that we can move through all three planes of motion when we do a Bodyblade exercise. Let's demonstrate this together. We're going to start off on a wide side, and I'm going to move through a complete range of motion and come back down. I'm going to step away from you just a little bit more, Christy, so you can come to rest. But I want to show how easily and how fluidly we can move through any range of motion that we want while we're driving in the wide side or in the narrow side. So I don't want you to be concerned that because we have a narrow or a wide that you can only go in one or two directions. You can literally go anywhere you like in rotation, up and down. And we're going to talk briefly in just a few moments about the three planes of motion.